Hi there, my name is Michelle Orbitz, and I'm a fertility acupuncturist. So, one of the things that I highly suggest to my patients is to start a meditation practice. And I will tell you why. It can help so much tremendously on the fertility journey for many different reasons. Number one, it obviously relieves stress, and obviously, there's a lot of anxiety and stress in the fertility journey. We get so bombarded with opinions, and we have doctor's visits, and it's extremely depleting. Number two, it helps provide clarity, which we really need. We need that clarity and connection to our own intuition, which we all have. We have this instinct that guides us, but sometimes we get overwhelmed with external stimulus, the external world, which dilutes basically what our inner world tells us. And our inner world really is accessible through meditation. Number three, since meditation is so good at creating a state of peace, our bodies are actually very responsive to that. So in Chinese medicine, when I work with patients, one of the things that we do is we create a state of homeostasis and balance. And a lot of times that happens in the mind where the body's able to relax so much because the mind is relaxed. So when that happens with the body is actually able to heal. Hormones become more regulated easily because ultimately the body is programmed to get into something called homeostasis. And homeostasis is really the state where the body self regulates and gets into balance, and it reverts to its own healing ultimately. And that's the environment that the body wants to be in order to heal. It also helps with sleep. It's got so many different benefits that you can actually go and research meditation benefits, research and studies that have been done, and it's there's a ton of information out there. Now, one of the common myths, which is a block that a lot of people have to meditation, is that they're supposed to stop thinking altogether, and that is not the case. And many times, because they don't stop thinking, or their expectations of stopping to think have not been met, they get disappointed and they feel like they haven't meditated correctly, and therefore it's not really something that they want to do. So there's a term called monkey mind, and it basically is the perfect way to explain how our minds normally operate. That's our natural state of our minds. They go from one thought to the next, to the next, and the next, just like a monkey on branches. It just keeps going. So, what we can do with meditation is have an anchor. Typically, that's how meditation works. We find an anchor. So, two main ones I'm going to mention today are paying attention to the breath or listening or repeating a mantra internally. So examples for mantras is could be like something like calm has really worked. One, or I am. So you could repeat those mantras to yourself. There's certain seed mantras that you can do as well, and you can go online to check it out. There are basically seed Vedic mantras that come from ancient India, and those are really helpful as well, or Om. I personally like one. It also simplifies, like, that word one, it just simplifies in your mind. So that's a really good one. And you can begin just paying attention to your breath. So you can focus on the breath as it comes in and out of your nose, or the breath from your belly. But if you do choose one location, just pay attention to that location and don't change it the whole time. And what you could do is start to pay attention to the breath or the mantra, and you're going to find that your mantra or the breath, you could start paying attention to it for a little bit, and then all of a sudden your mind's going to want to go wandering. And sometimes you catch it and sometimes you don't. And sometimes you'll go for like 5 minutes of just thinking about all kinds of different things, and you go from one thought to the next, just like the branches that monkeys climb on. And what you're going to find is at one point you're going to realize you're doing that, and it's kind of carrying you away. So ultimately, the state of most of us is that we get carried away with our thoughts, and we actually have way more power than we realize in how we feel and how we perceive really reality. And the way to really get back into that power is through becoming mindful and having meditation, so that over time you're going to train your mind to gently go back to the breath or go back to the mantra. So those are the anchors. And every single time you remember to, you go back gently, gently. So it's almost like looking at the thoughts as clouds in the sky. They just come and go. They just are where they are, and they're always going to be there. I've been meditating for over 20 years. My thoughts are still there, and I'm okay with it. I just learned how to navigate it. So you're not resisting it, because that starts to become like this validation. When you resist things, believe it or not, you're actually validating their existence. And it's not that they don't exist, but you just kind of, you don't fight it. You just let it move, go back, and then just put your attention towards whatever it is that is your anchor, whether it's your breath or your mantra. So over time, what's going to happen is you're training your mind to come back to something that is happening in the present. So you're always breathing in the present. When you're paying attention to your breath, it's in the present. Or when you're thinking about a mantra, you're saying it in the present. So you're getting your mind to come back to the present. And over time, the reactivity that we have to the things that happen in the world, or our thoughts about what's happening in the world, start to minimize, and they don't have such a strong hold over you, because that's really the consciousness of reactivity. When we're starting to react to everything that happens to us, then where is our power? We're just reacting. So basically the power is in the world, and that world is empowering, like overpowering us and our free will. So over time, you get back into your own center and your own power, and you have a choice on how you react. You get a little more mindful and a little bit more aware. So this is how meditation ultimately helps. What I suggest is not go crazy at first. You could just do 5 minutes a day, literally just 5 minutes a day for a little while, because then you start this new habit, and habits form with repetition. You start a habit really easily. You're not over expecting from yourself, and you're giving yourself a little bit at a time so that you can ease into it. And over time, it's going to get easier to fall into this rhythm, and then it becomes a habit. If you want more, you may actually sit there for 5 minutes and crave more. You could eventually just continue it into 10 minutes and then more, whatever it is that you need. And if you do find yourself getting really overwhelmed with emotion during the meditation, which can happen, then instead of getting into the thought or trying to analyze it and fix it from the thought place, which is really where the problem lies, start paying attention to your body. Where am I feeling tension? So pay attention to where it is that you're feeling the tension. You may feel it in your stomach. You might feel it in your chest or in your throat. There's got to be somewhere where you kind of constrict without even realizing it, because most of the time that's how we feel emotion, is really through our bodies. So start to pay attention to where it is, become mindful, and then bring the breath into those areas. And you'll see that that grasping and that trigger, that pull is, or the charge is going to over time minimize, and it's going to feel great, because then you're going to become more empowered. And that's ultimately really what you are, were born to do, is to be empowered. That's how you're meant to live your life, is from this place of empowerment, and make decisions from that place of empowerment. Because many times people on the fertility journey, they go to one doctor and the doctor says something that doesn't feel in line with what they know to be true. And I've seen this so many times with my patients, and they ended up not being right. They tell them like the worst news possible. You're never going to be able to get pregnant on your own, whatever it is. Then they go to someone else who has a different opinion, or they just choose to come to someone like me and try naturally. And I've seen those exact women with that exact news get pregnant naturally after a month. So it happens. So if you feel within yourself guided, like something just doesn't feel right, it's probably in line with something. You got to investigate it. Now, you can't make decisions too quickly or too rash, but what you could do is get a second opinion, a third opinion, and then just go with how you feel, because ultimately meditation is going to help you get more in tune with that intuition and that guidance that you always have within you. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, you can actually leave it in the comment below. I will answer your questions about meditation. If you have any interesting experiences with your trying meditation, go ahead and share your experience. I would love to hear it. I know experiences can be good and bad, but it's all good. There's no good or bad, really. It's just a matter of going through challenges or feeling this peace that eventually you'll start to get. But the great news is that the benefits of meditation happen immediately. So even if you're trying 5 minutes a day for a week, within that end of that week, you're going to feel a difference already in your psyche. So it's definitely worth trying at least for a week. So I wish you the best of luck in your meditation practice. And thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time.